Hi guys, my name is Arjun and I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of working with ballers. So my presentation is not anything super serious like Sunny's or McKenna's, but I hope you guys get something out of it. So firstly, I'd like to start off and talking to you guys about two things I really like. So I really like coding, I like programming, I really like web design, and I also really like dancing. They're both very creative works. You know, when you program a website, when you create a web design, a lot goes into planning out the layout, planning out the color scheme, all that stuff. When actually I know you go crazy trying to create websites for Stepco and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, you tell them it's a lot of work, right? Yeah, okay. And of course, yeah, so you're creating something new out of basically little characters and code. With dancing, it's much more little. You're creating choreography or trying to emulate someone else's choreography, right? So they're both very creative works, and I thoroughly enjoy both of them. However, I recognize that I'm nowhere near a very high level of competency in either of those fields, right? And I guess the inspiration of this talk came from the people I work with a great deal. So I guess specifically Ryan Everhart and then Jordan Tiller. So yeah.
Funny guy.
Yeah. So me and Ryan, I guess I'll talk to you a little bit about my relationship with both of these, well, all three of these people. So me and Ryan, we work on building a web app together, along with Ethan Biani. You probably should be up here as well. But basically, I take care of some of the web development. He takes care of some of the development as well. And every day, I'm really humbled by how much he knows and how little I know, right? So he's out there cracking code, cracking out code, and really just building these crazy architectural frameworks and things like that. And I'm sitting there like struggling with like really simple features, right? So it's insane when I sit here and think about, wow, I know like this much and this guy knows like this much. So he's a pretty big guy. Then there's Jordan Tiller. All of you guys, I hope, know that they're awesome dancers, right? So my quad mates can probably tell you, I've been pretty frustrated recently just because I've been trying to learn modern for Lunar. And it's pretty hard. I've never had this hard of a time trying to learn a dance. And for these two, it's just like, they watch the video a few times, they practice, and like they're good, like they got it, right? So I guess working with all these guys kind of made me realize, okay, so working with people that are wildly more competent than you, it can kind of be frustrating. But I've also realized that it has some crazy benefits as well. So there are some pros, there are also some cons. Mainly the frustration level with knowing that there's someone out there that's a lot better than you and seems like you're never going to be that good. But for the pros, I guess, the two main pros I'm going to focus on right now is the increase in vocabulary that you're going to gain by working with these types of people, and the automatic actual resources that you have as well. The cons, I'm going to touch up on self-confidence a little bit. Let's get into vocabulary. So I'm going to use Ryan as a good example of this. But basically, whenever I have an issue with something that's not working right with the development process, I either turn to Google, and when that doesn't work, I just hand my laptop over to Ryan, and it's just like, yo, Ryan, please explain this to me. And he's like, okay, so you're not using this right, and this subnet doesn't work, and this type of data, blah, 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 I don't know, doesn't work at all either. And I just kind of sit there and like nod. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And he finishes, to him, what he just said was like perfectly crystal clear. And I'm sitting there like, I didn't understand like half of those words, but I'll just pretend that, yeah, cool, like I got you, thanks for that. And I guess this is a pretty natural phenomenon, right? So when we grow up, as we grow up, our language gets more sophisticated. We use words like maneuver, we use words like agility instead of just words like speed. Because we understand that all three of those words have a distinct definition and they mean something very precise. And the same thing happens as you get more technically competent in any type of creative field, or any other field for that matter. So for Ryan, he can use some crazy words because he's very comfortable with the topic and he knows exactly what's going on, whereas I can't really do that, right? So working with people that are much more competent than you, it allows you to kind of gain that one-up, kind of allows you to learn more vocabulary, and allows you to gain the context behind how those words are used, and allows you to develop more, and just allows you to grow a little bit more. So I guess that's the first benefit to working with ballers. The second, so a common practice between developers is checking this site called Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is basically this place you go to whenever you have any code problems. It's like, why doesn't this work? Gee, let's check Stack Overflow. And usually someone has the exact same problem you've had. So it's just basically a forum of people asking for help and a bunch of better people answering them. You know, yeah, here you go. This is how you fix your easy issue. But okay, so whenever something goes wrong, that's immediately the first place I check. But you know, sometimes the internet is kind of stupid, and it's not. We don't have all the solutions out there yet. So it can take a lot of time for you to try to find a solution to something. But when you work with people that are just that in your mind are wildly better than you, it's a lot easier to just hand it over to them, and they can explain to you exactly how to improve, or they can explain exactly what's going wrong instead of just getting the surface of the answer from some website like that you find on Google, right? And that's really big. So for the analogy to dancing, you can always watch a dance video, right, on YouTube, and in theory you should be able to learn that dance like really easily. I mean, legitimately like right there in front of you, you just copy their moves and you're good to go, right? In practice, it's not that easy. So having people around like Tiller, like George, that know the dance really well, that you can go and ask for help, that in itself is awesome. And having a resource like that is another benefit of having wildly competent people around you. For the last part, I just want to talk to you a little about self-confidence. So early in the week, I was talking to Sonny about how everything went to shit, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I didn't really tell him anything after that. I'm not sure why, but basically what was happening was I was sitting there feeling really down because I was trying to realize, like, gee, like, I really like coding, I really like dancing, I kind of suck at both of them. And in my mind, this is exactly what I imagined. So up on top of this pyramid of competence is Tiller, George, Ryan, Ethan, Tony, Sean, people like that, right? And this little line over here, that's me down here. Yeah, yo, Sean's really good, yo. Don't he's a good dancer.
That was a good thing.
Oh, okay, my good. I don't want you shit on Sean. Okay. It's okay. Never mind. Anyway. So I guess this was my mentality when I was feeling pretty down. Okay. I think this is something that can happen very easily when you're working with people that in your mind are like pretty much like gods to you, right? They possess so much knowledge that you can barely even comprehend knowing that much stuff. You can barely even imagine you being in a position like that in the future, right? When I stopped to think about it, I realized, gee, whenever I tell Ryan that like he's amazing, like you're godly, like you're a big guy, all he really responds with is, "What are you talking about? I'm not really that good. You should see XYZ. These guys are awesome. I'm trash." I told Tiller, "Yo, Tiller, you are an amazing dancer. Like, stop like being down on yourself." He responds with, "Man, I'm not that good. You should go check out these people on YouTube. They are awesome. XYZ is awesome. I am trash." So I started realizing, maybe
Everyone is trash.
maybe it's not like this. Maybe this is more like what it is. Okay? There's that golden pyramid up on top, but that's not Ethan. That's not Ryan. That's not Tiller. That's not George. They're really down here. Okay? And you know, this jump to me seems a lot more feasible than this jump all the way up on top, right? I think that's a lot more easier to comprehend. And that in itself was kind of reassuring to me, thinking, you know, maybe if I stick to this for a little bit while longer, if I learn more vocabulary, if I ask them for more help, if I invest in time, I can get better. You know, I can get more confident. Maybe I can be one of them one day. Then I started realizing, wait a second, I'm not all the way down there. I've already put some time into this. I have gotten a little bit better. I remember starting off programming my first website, and it was really trash. Okay, so like it was just a box with like a couple words on it, and I could barely call it a website. It was almost as bad as like a Victory website. Sophomores, juniors probably don't know what that is, but if anyone remembers Victory websites, those things were really bad. It was basically something like that, right? And the things I make now, I'd like to say they're a lot better. They have a lot more features. I actually do program instead of just use a bunch of HTML tags and copy-paste code from other places. And I think I have gotten better at dancing since sophomore year. Sophomore year, I don't know what I did. I guess I went like that. But I'd like to say I've improved from that point. And I guess the magical moment was that I realized that the third piece of the puzzle was that there's other people down here, right? it's not just me over there all the way at the bottom of the pyramid. There's people below me that are less technically competent than I am. There are people, yeah, okay, thanks. There are people that don't know the first thing about programming. There's people that don't know the first thing about dancing. Maybe they're probably all the way up here for something else, but for dancing, for coding, they're not. And to me, it's like, wow, gee, like, I guess maybe to them, I might appear to be a Tiller, I might appear to be a George, I might appear to be a Ryan, right? So I guess that revelation kind of calmed my nerves down a bit, and I guess that was a key takeaway for the self-confidence part of working with ballers. So I guess thanks. Keynote's awesome. Working with people that are a lot better than you gives you a lot of benefits. Okay, so vocabulary I talked about is great because it kind of bridges that gap between the bottom of the pyramid and the middle of the pyramid. You gain some context behind how to use the words. You gain some understanding about some more advanced topics that you might not be able to understand by yourself. Having someone to go to for help is awesome. That in itself allows you to grow a lot more than just a bunch of Google searches. And if you're willing to see past the difference in confidence level, self-confidence shouldn't be a con for you, it should be a pro. Understanding that you can get better over time and you can advance up the pyramid of competence and maybe one day get up all the way to the top of the gold pyramid, right? So this tradition started with Death Note, but I always end my presentation with a nice little picture of the awesomest people in the room.
Oh my god, this is beautiful.
Yeah, so there you go, that's the presentation. Thanks guys.